Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupan Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Raman Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. How's the focus? So, we are beginning with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this book, Shri Gauriya Giti Gucha, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yuttapada Kamalam. Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Yuttapada Kamalam, Shri Guru Vaisnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahamana Raghunatham Vitantam Sajivam Salvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahamana Lalita Shri Vishakhanditamshta Om Ajnanatimirandhasyam Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yeno Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Shri Krishna Lila Gatane Sudaksham Avtarya Madhurya Munashcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirasam Namami Tritandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padam Jivitaika Hridni Chaitanya Leelamrita Sarasar Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pleshraya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Preshraya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyano Keshava Nityanamine Ativartyacharitraya Sashritanam Chapaline Jivadukhe Sadarthaya Shri Nama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshraya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanto Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabharami Devi Dhanitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnano Dahine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupayura Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Nigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Vinatani Rupani Gora Shakti Swarupaaya Rupanugavarayate Gora Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirnishtha Sajanapriya Vaisnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratmishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Nilabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Bhakta Kanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhansute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jayam Suratopam Mama Mandam Matirgati Matsarvasvapagam Roja Radha Madanamohara Divyam Vrindaranya Kalpadumadam Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastho Shri Shri Radha Shri Govinda Krishnani Bhisenyamanus Smarami Shri Mandrasarasaramhi Om Shivakta Namaskitaha Kalshampenu Swarenupi Gopinatha Shriyestunaha Vrindaye Tulasile Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Viparinam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Mudivardhanam Pradipannam Purnamrita Shravanam Sarvatmo Sapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Kevalam Haro Naste Vanaste Vanastero Gatinamyata Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Oh, he always asks for that arm.
The other one. Gurudev kabe mor se dina have. Page 34. Vaisnava Thakur. Page 39, OHE, Vaisnava Thakur. Is it okay?
I'm just checking now. I haven't been able to check yet. That's why I was trying.
We just need to check if the picture or the sound is working right.
I'm just going to see if anyone... No complaints are here at this point.
Great.
Dandava Pranama Vaishnavas. Thank you for joining us.
Yam Kali Rupa.
Page 47 starts with Y-A-N-K-A-L-I, Yam Kali Rupa. And just in case you're not used to being with us, if you keep scrolling down to the bottom, you'll find that in the comment section that Jiva Bhavana Prabhu will add the bhajans and the kirtans that we're singing so we can all sing together. And if you're lucky, you'll find some nectar here and there that he also posts. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandava Pranam.
Yam Kali
See? Starts Nitai, Nitaipada. Nitai Pada. Kamala.
Will you give me that allergy medicine? Sorry.
The yellow one?
Yeah, they've been banging on the roof all day, and dust is coming in. We've been having a lot of allergies. Sorry.
It's okay.
Page 58. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasani Gaur Bhakta
Page 72, and it's Manare Kahana Goro Katha, and it starts Manare. And just remember to keep scrolling to the bottom, and you'll see that Jiva Pavana Prabhu will mercifully add the lyrics as we're going along.
Shri Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Harinamatuva Aneka Swarupa.
Eho. Page number?
I don't know. Starting with H.
Namatuva Aneka Swarupa. Page 180 starts with Harinama Tuva, Tuwa. Page 180.
Tempo Tempo. Great. Sorry. Do you want to play the drum?
Oh, she's coming.
that in this bhajan glorifying Harinam Prabhu, that actually all of the subjects we've been speaking about, Matsya Digane Avatari, all different aspects, even Kaliya Shatana, we've been speaking about Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. So many of these different Brahma Vimohan Lila is mentioned here. Everything is present within the holy name of Krishna. Now, we will call out for the mercy of Srimati Radhika. Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela. Krishna bhajana tava akarane gela. Page 110. R-A-D-H-A, Radha, Bhajane.
Isn't there one we always sing that they never have?
Well, this one is rarely sung. So
no, but I'm saying there's one that they generally can't
yes,
find.
Vande Shri Vrishabhanu Sutapada.
Oh, okay.
Which it would be really nice. Maybe we can find it and we'll send it to you, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and then you can post it when we sing it.
Also, Anupama Madhuri Jodi. No. Yes.
I need to go a little lower so you can...
I don't need to be big.
Radha bhajane jani moti nahi bhela Krishna bhajana tava akarane gela Radha bhajane jani moti nahi bhela Radha also that bhajan we just sang. So many evidences are in there. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur is giving us for who is seeking after the foot dust of Srimati Radhika, and how all other Shaktis are manifestations of her. Radha Avatar Sabe Am Nayavani. That only worshipping Krishna without Srimati Radhika is like the case of half a hen. You cannot see the potent without the potency. So all of these tattvas are present within this bhajan. Shri Radha Bhajani Jadi.
fashioned it so you see the questions.
Okay. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhuttale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हुकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दिनतारिणम्. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Visnupada, Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. In the same thousands of Dandava Pranam, in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Visnupada, Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupana Guru Varga. And to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including those who are present with us today, I offer my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam.
So before we go beyond Vaikuntha today, because I don't want to disrupt the flow of the Katha, a few questions were asked yesterday and other days, and I think it's important to address these questions. So there was one question about milk, there was another question about carrots, there's another question about Chaturmasya, and I will try to be brief about them. So first, the question about milk. Because something is suffering greatly, and some part of them is connected to that suffering, is there nothing of them that can be offered to Krishna? This is a question, actually. Look at flowers. Look at fruits. Look at vegetables. What about us? We are within this bhavasagar. Every single creature within this material world is suffering. Sorry to begin with suffering, but this is how we are starting. And we'll end with sweetness and beauty. Because Gurudev always said, at the end of everything, madhurena samarpayet, all is well that ends sweetly. So our current condition is, either we are in ignorance about it, or we realize it, that we are suffering the threefold miseries within this material world, in the blazing forest fire of material existence. Sometimes we look at nature and we think, oh, this is so beautiful. We're enjoying it with our eyes. I remember when we lived in Fiji. It is the island we were living on. We were managing a 300-acre farm with a big house overlooking the ocean. The most beautiful view in the world. I wish I had a picture I could show you at the moment. It was a view it had 270-degree view where the mountain or the island could see the ocean with the islands off in the distance. And we were up on the mountainside with coconut trees, mango trees, papaya trees. The sun would set right in front of the house with beautiful sunsets every night, and light sprinkling rain would come. It seemed so perfect and so ideal and so beautiful. And the jungle behind would grow like anything. So one day, I got Sudevi to come outside, and she was going out there with her machete, and I had my machete, and some of the jungle was growing up to 6 feet thick, like dense. You had to cut just to walk down the road. And some of the vines were growing faster than the trees, and they would cover them. We called them the alien plants because they would just completely take over. And then you could see out in nature how this tree was trying to take over this tree so it could get the light. And this insect was running from this lizard who was running from this cat, and everything was like... And Sudevi coined a term at that time, beauty is only tree deep. When we say beauty is only skin deep. But in that place, it was the most beautiful, ideal, picturesque, parasite. I was thinking of Srila Gurudeva Maharaja. Paradise-like place that you could imagine. But when you looked more closely, it was quite obvious that one living entity was food for another. One living entity was food for another. And there's a whole cycle. One who is bigger and stronger, they take advantage of those who are weaker. Life comes from life. In order to survive, we also must take life. We don't realize it, but within those vegetables, there's a soul present. And that vegetable is growing and trying to mind its own business. It does not want to be separated from its body. We can look at it and assume that it is ignorant, that it doesn't have any intelligence or feeling, because we don't recognize that. People used to think that about animals. And they used to think about aboriginals as well, or anything that was not like themselves. That they don't have feeling, that they don't have souls. What is offerable and what is not? Everything in this material world is a rotation of birth, disease, old age, and death. This is called Martyaloka, Mrityuloka. What can be offered? How can anything be benefited? In order to understand this, we need to take shelter of someone who understands from a higher perspective. Because from our mundane material perspective, we will make judgments from a material perspective, from a mundane perspective, that might not actually be fair. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained this. I believe it's in one of the Upakyan Upadeshas. These stories with morals. There's a whole book of stories with morals. And in there, he was talking about someone who wants to enjoy going for a nice carriage ride and experiencing the beauty of the environment. Horses pulling them along, it seems so nice and peaceful. But they don't realize what kind of difficulty they're giving to the horse. They're enjoying it. I believe it was Madhavi, Kapati Madhavi Diroy, who recently posted something on her timeline about, it just had a picture of nature. It had a picture of mountains with trees and a lake, and it was so serene and beautiful. And based on the teachings of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he's saying that we're looking at that and we're trying to enjoy that view. But within that, every living entity is trying to exploit the other for its own benefit and subsistence. This is the nature of this world. It is the land of exploitation. If I'm buying a shirt here from this company, we can trace it back to the beginning these days. But before, who was making the shirt? Who was growing the cotton? Who was picking it? What chemicals did they spray on it? How did those chemicals affect? It is a chain, a cycle of difficulty, going right back to its origin. In almost every circumstance, in every product that we have, in this thing right here, in this thing, in that thing, in the clothes I'm wearing, inside the refrigerator, in your favorite sports, whatever, you have a football or a tennis racket or whatever, it doesn't matter. Everything is connected to everything else. If you go to the supermarket to buy something, you are paying for them to then buy meat and sell that meat. We are completely intertwined with karma in every aspect. And there's more direct and indirect, but there's no way out except for surrendering to Krishna by first surrendering to his pure devotee and taking shelter of Krishna's holy names. There's actually no way out of this binding. Like a fly caught in a web, every way we think, oh, I can turn to get out of this web, we will bind ourselves more and more and more. The only way to become free from the knots which bind us in this world is the sword of transcendental knowledge as it is held up and utilized by the sadhu. This is the first aspect of surrendering to Krishna, where he himself says, Ahang tvang sarva papebhyo moksha. If you surrender unto him one-pointed, how can I surrender to him one-pointed? By taking shelter of his one-pointed devotee. Then I can understand and learn how to surrender to him. Then, as an automatic side effect that I don't need to worry about if I am following the path of bhakti, pure bhakti, then automatically it will be done. Krishna will remove all the results of our sins, which have been binding us in this material world since time immemorial. So how do I view things? How do I understand things in this world? I look at something and I think, oh, this is good, and something else and I think this is bad, wherein it can actually be exactly the opposite. What is good is what is favorable and pleasing to Krishna. And what is bad is what is not favorable or pleasing to Krishna. So generally we think a lie is a bad thing. But if Krishna wants you to lie, then that's a good thing. And if you tell the truth, when Krishna wants you to lie, then what is the result? Yudhishthira Maharaj did this. We look at it from a material dharmic perspective. Yudhishthira Maharaj was known as Dharmaraj. Dharmaraj means he always tells the truth, he always follows proper dharma. So Krishna told Yudhishthira Maharaj that this, what is his name? Dronacharya is impossible to kill on the battlefield. So we need your help. Everyone knows that you are famous for only speaking the truth. So you have to tell him that his son Ashvatthama is dead. How can Yudhishthira do such a thing? To say that Ashvatthama is dead so that we can kill this Dronacharya, who is their martial arts guru. But Krishna ordered it. So Yudhishthira Maharaj could not hold himself. Krishna knew he wouldn't be able to follow his order directly. So at the moment when Yudhishthira was telling this, Yudhishthira decided to add, under his breath, the elephant. He actually arranged to kill one elephant who was on the opposite side as they were in battle. And Yudhishthira Maharaj then said, Ashvatthama, the elephant is dead. And Krishna at that moment, when he was saying the elephant, had everyone blow their conch shells. So everyone was like, woo! You know, like on television or in the news when someone says something they shouldn't say and you hear the bleep. It was like that. So Ashvatthama is dead. Dronacharya heard it from Yudhishthira. Immediately he stopped what he was doing. He sat down on the battlefield, thinking my son is dead. Sat in yoga position. Krishna glanced at Drishtadumna, who was the brother of Draupadi, who was also born of fire, to kill for the purpose of killing Dronacharya. Krishna glanced at him, and Drishtadumna took the opportunity to fulfill the purpose of his birth and the vow that he had made, and removed the head of Dronacharya. But what happened to Yudhishthira? Because he was so dharmic, his chariot always floated above the ground. It never touched the ground. But because he failed to follow the order of Krishna, what happened as a result? For the first time, his chariot touched the ground. So it was considered inauspicious for him. So, what is pleasing to Krishna, this is good. What is displeasing to Krishna, this is not good. What is more pleasing to Krishna? How can we understand? to be under the guidance of his devotee, then we can know what is beneficial for Krishna. This is called anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. More than his immediate pleasure is his benefit. And we can only know that by being under the guidance of someone who knows him intimately, like Mother Yashoda. She puts Krishna down and runs to save the milk for Krishna's benefit. Even though Krishna's immediate pleasure is not quenched at the moment, still for his future benefit, she runs to save the milk so she can make so many beautiful kinds of sweets for his happiness and pleasure. Burfi, rabri, pera, rasmalai, everything that he likes, which she cannot make with her own milk, she can make with that milk. So for his benefit and future pleasure, she has put Krishna down to save the milk. So this is why we must be under the guidance of the pure devotee. By being under their guidance, then we will know how to serve Krishna, not only for his pleasure, but for his benefit. Otherwise, we can also make mistakes. That's why he says, whoever says they are my devotee, they're not really my devotee, but the devotee of my devotee, that is my real devotee. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu epitomized this bhav or mood in this verse, Gopi bhartu padakamalayur das das anudasaha, that my only identity is that I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, the beloved of the gopis. So in the case of all of these considerations, material considerations, we need to understand them from the perspective of the pure Vaishnavas. Then we can have a proper grounded understanding. Otherwise, we will still be situated on the chariot of our own mind. This is known as manoratena. And that is not the same as the chariot which brings Krishna to Vrindavan. That is the chariot of our mind, which binds us in this material world. So one must always be under the guidance of the pure devotee. Tishtan braje tad anuragi jananugami. Then we can see things clearly from a proper or higher perspective. Because otherwise we can still bind ourselves in this material world. So that's what I will say on that. But it comes into the next question, which is about?
Which is about what?
Carrots.
Well, I wanted to just say one thing, if that's
Yes.
okay.
Of course.
Also, Indira from Mexico is asking a question.
Radhe Radhe.
Is asking a question about Chaturmasya and sins, and also garlic and onion, if you can refresh that. So Dandava Pranam all Vaishnavas. I know Kishori Mohan Prabhu has spoken this before. Am I sitting directly in front of Thakurji? I don't like that.
There you go.
So, one Srila Gurudev was walking in Badger and he saw all of these cows. And Gurudev immediately, upon seeing the cows, became happy and started walking toward them. And then he saw that as soon as he started walking toward them, all of the cows began to run. And they stopped in the middle of the field and turned back and were looking at him. And when Gurudev turned around, he was crying. He had tears in his eyes. And he said, I am weeping for these cows because I know that tomorrow they will go for slaughter. They will go to the slaughterhouse. And everyone was agreeing, yes, Gurudev, they're for slaughter. And then he looked at all the devotees and said, I am also weeping for all of you because you are also going to the slaughterhouse. It means that if we are not taking the association of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, that we are also only running on our karma, on our samsara, and rotating. Those cows were once humans eating cows, and now they are suffering, and it continues and continues. So everything is dependent on our consciousness. And that is why Srila Prabhupada always spoke about being Krishna conscious. And when Kishori Mohan Prabhu was speaking about Mother Yashoda and how everything she is doing is for the benefit and pleasure of Krishna, if we can have that type of consciousness, then it should be okay to offer something of those jivas that can be offerable. Kishori was actually quoting Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. And in this article, he was saying that only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is magnanimous. Only he can be called truly magnanimous. Everything else gives some ill effect. Everything else has an equal and opposite reaction. And everything else is binding us in this world. And he said, but anything to do with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the holy name of Krishna, Thakurji, Sri Guru, everything is all auspicious. And there is no ill effect. So really it depends on our consciousness and our care. When we're running around and just saying, oh, I'm going to go have some ice cream, or I'm going to go have some lasagna, or cheese pizza, and things like this, then we know that it's for my own selfish tendency, and it's not for the pleasure of Krishna, and it's not for the benefit or upliftment of those jivas who are now going to the slaughterhouse. We are also suffering. If we have any kind of disease like cancer, and we're dying and we're in pain, and we know that we're going to die, does that mean something of us cannot be offered? That someone can't offer prayers on our behalf? Anything that is offerable? So it may be that we can take some ghee that is made from those animals and purely offer it during the arti of Krishna. Please help these jivas. They are circling in samsara. They were killing. Srila Prabhupada said that if you eat meat of a cow, you will have to take birth. Shastra says you will have to take as many hairs as there are on that cow. You will have to take birth and be slaughtered. It's not like anything or anyone is innocent. We are all guilty and we are all suffering the results of our karmic reactions. But how will we help each other? And how will we help those other jivas out of that samsara without jiva daya, without mercy to the jivas? So it depends on our consciousness, how we take these things into our lives with gravity, with care, with Krishna consciousness, for the upliftment of that jiva. There's a story in Shastra how a mouse was hungry. I know everyone knows this story. So he told it yesterday. It's probably why I'm remembering it. And he's rolling and trying to put the fire out. But what does he get? He gets the benefit because he catches on fire. He's in pain. He's not dancing in ecstasy, the mouse. But he's screeching and rolling on the ground and writhing in pain. But the Lord took that as an offering. Oh, you're dancing in front of me and singing and offering arti to me. So then he got the benefit in his next birth of having a human form and then to continue toward Vaikuntha. So we don't really understand the magnitude of bhakti and of the process of bhakti and what we have been given. If we have the great fortune of coming in contact with ahimsa milk, then that is great. But what about those jivas that are suffering with that violence going on to them continuously, and they're rushing toward their samsara, and Gurudev is weeping for them? Is there not something that we can do? Maybe we could, like I said, have a pot of ghee and only use that as an offering, and remember that mouse even, and how the Lord accepts the essence of that. How many thousands of cows' drops of milk and even blood are in that ghee that is being offered to the Lord, that can go toward its upliftment out of the samsara of this material world. So if we can try to be Krishna conscious, and we can try to honor everything as belonging to Krishna, not belonging to me and my false ego, then we will actually be benefiting those jivas. So I'm not saying that anyone should be vegan or anyone shouldn't be vegan. We should take milk, shouldn't take milk. We're saying that we should be Krishna conscious, and that we should always endeavor to try to help every jiva. And not only the cows and not only the dogs and cats we walk by, but what about every human being we see and we don't give the holy name to? But we worry so much only about the cows. But in their human form of life, these human beings can actually endeavor for perfection. But out of embarrassment, we won't say Hare Krishna. We won't let them hear the name of Krishna. So it's all really dependent upon mercy and upon our consciousness. Are we being Krishna conscious when we're washing our vegetables and cutting them? When we're taking any substance like milk products? Is it just for our enjoyment? Do we need ice cream? Do we need all of these things? No. Is it for Krishna's pleasure? No. So think. This is our duty. To try to be conscious, to try to be careful, to try to not bring harm to others. And I will just say what Gurudev said to me personally. Once when a reporter was asking him, he gave a specific response to that person about it's like meat if you take milk. But when I asked him, and I have it in a letter and I can post it if you like, he said that it is better to take milk from better treated cows, if it is at all possible. That we shouldn't try to continue a cruel situation, but that we should try to offer what we can to Krishna. And that was what was important, to try to do the right thing, to be conscious with everything, with every offering. Because at every step we're killing. Every time I go and I clean my floor, there's these minuscule ants. And I can't always wipe around each one of them. And I know that I'm killing, so I'm washing the floor and I'm just chanting continuously. We should be like this with every breath. With every breath we are killing. So it's all dependent upon the consciousness. As Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would say, the environment is always friendly. It is our consciousness that needs to change. And if we can change our consciousness and do things with a conscious mood to uplift, to give mercy by offering something to the Lord for the benefit and on behalf of those jivas, then that may be better than not doing anything and rejecting everything. So it depends. And we all have to test our own pulse and see, am I able to offer this? Will my Gurudev accept it and offer it to Krishna? Or is it something I made for myself and my family members to enjoy? And then I'm telling Krishna, here, you can have the remnant of what I've already enjoyed because it's for me. So everything we do should be like this, to try to be on that platform of great care for every jiva, not only the cows, not only those that are suffering, because every jiva is suffering in samsara, including all of us. And we can also enter back into samsara. What we are contemplating on, we can become. So if we're contemplating on Krishna, then automatically we will have everything in our life dedicated to Krishna. If we're contemplating only cows, then everything will revolve around that. And if we leave our bodies and our general consciousness is only cows, then we will take a birth like that, because that is what we will remember at the time of death. So in all ways, it is best to try to be Krishna consciousness and not do everything as an offering unto Krishna. Offer ourselves to Krishna, and therefore everything will be an offering, and first and foremost to Guru Krishna. I just wanted to share that because I think it's very important to understand that to give Jiva Doya isn't just a material kind of mercy. Mahaprabhu isn't talking about just feeding the poor or opening hospitals or doing good welfare work in this world, but what will truly benefit that jiva. And it may be that one drop of milk. It may be that one ghee lamp that you light, and thousands of cows may be benefited by that, more so than by not offering that. We should think, just check ourselves, and we can make those decisions. Ask Guru in the heart, please guide me, and carefully, gravely make our decisions, without judgment upon others. Dandava Pranam.
Thank you, Sudevi. Beautiful and powerful. One thing I wanted to add to what Sudevi was saying. Our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has asserted, and we should understand this, that Krishna consciousness is not necessarily synonymous with vegetarianism. Prabhupada established that if Krishna ordered us to eat meat, we would eat meat. So it's not about just being a vegetarian, because vegetarians are also killing. Somehow it has come to be known by that. But that's not what Krishna consciousness means. Our Srila Prabhupada told our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja, that if it is necessary to bring people to Krishna consciousness, to the point where they will begin chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then I will not hesitate to serve meat and alcohol. He told this to our Gurudev. And this seems a little bit like, whoa, far-fetched. However, his own Guru also said that, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. If it is necessary to serve meat, that I can attract some to come and hear about Krishna and begin taking up the process of Krishna Bhakti, then I will do so. I would not hesitate to do so. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj questioned him. Not only him, many. They were like, wait, how can he say such a thing? And when Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj questioned Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he said, I have already made up my mind 100 lifetimes ago about this. And what did Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada said? I know that very quickly, by the power of Mahamantra, all of these bad habits will be given up. So this is not the main thing. Being a vegetarian can bring one to the platform of goodness, but the platform of goodness can never bring one to the platform of bhakti. What can bring one to the platform of bhakti? Not just goodness. Goodness can bring you to nirvana, but it's not the qualification of entrance into bhakti. Krishna bhakti rasabhavi tamati kriyatam jadi kutopi labhyate tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam janma koti shukritar na labhyate. Millions of births of doing good things in this world cannot give one the qualification for bhakti or Krishna bhakti ras. The root qualification for it is the intense, greedy desire to have it, and this can only manifest by the mercy of sadhus. Of course, our Guru Varga and our Guru Parampara have told us that if we do things in a more sattvic way, that we will be able to be more receptive. That when one is very sinful, it is very difficult to be able to access or comprehend spiritual subject matters. But we have seen how Narada Muni met with a hunter in the forest, and this hunter was not any ordinary hunter. He was a very vile kind of hunter who liked to maim animals and watch them squiggle and squirm and slowly die. This was his fun. This was his joy. And Narada Muni met him. Within a moment, by the mercy of Narada Muni, he was able to realize the nature of his sins and the reaction to them. And then he took shelter of Narada Muni, and from that point, gave up all sinful activities and began the process of bhakti. So we are not dependent upon karma or akarma or vikarma or any good material activities or not. Bhakti is not dependent on any of that. Bhakti is dependent upon mercy coming from the bhakta. Bhakta sanjataya bhakta. So, what is it? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he said, we are not the doers of good or evil deeds. It's in his Upadeshavali.
While you're looking for it, I just want to add that Raghava Pandit Prabhu is saying, and he is quoting Shastra, that one of the greatest sins is the killing of cows,
yes,
and that they should be protected, and that there are different levels of consciousness of, and sin according to what we kill to eat.
Yes.
And I want to acknowledge that that is absolutely true, and we're not making the cows on the same level as a tomato.
A cow is not a vegetable.
No. So please, I want to just say that out loud because he wrote it.
Yes.
And I don't know if everyone is reading it, but this is absolutely true that we should be protectors of the cows and that this is also a very dharmic thing.
Thank you.
Okay.
I saw that he wrote something.
He wrote two things. He
Okay.
wrote again, and he wrote quoting Shastra, and I wanted to acknowledge that
Yes.
there is a difference.
There is a difference in the amount or level of consciousness or awareness.
And
the soul is
killing.
the same. The soul is the same in every jiva, whether it's inside the form of a micro ant or a bacteria or something microscopic you can't even see, or inside of a tree or a bush or a bird or an aquatic or a cow or a vegetable or a dog or a human or whatever. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmane gavihashtini shunichaiva svapakecha pandita samadarshina. A real pandit will see with equal vision all of these different things. A cow, a brahmin, a dog eater,
But he was specifically...
an elephant. No, but they will see the soul present. But according to Shastra, according to the level of cognizance within any creature, if it has the ability to cry, to look at you, or to scream and beg for mercy when you're coming after it, it's definitely more, it's considered more heinous and more terrible and more sinful than, let's say, going after a potato. I mean, it makes sense.
And then the cow.
But still, karmically, if you kill a vegetable, we should not think that there is no karmic reaction for that. Although there is a different level of karmic reaction for killing a cow, like Sudevi already mentioned. For every hair on the body of that cow, you will have to take birth and be slaughtered. So there is a different consequence for killing a human or a cow or a brahmin or a vegetable. We should not think it is all the same in terms of the consequence of that. The point I was trying to make is it is all binding in karma. And we should acknowledge that. And there's really only one way of getting free. And that is by taking shelter of the process of bhakti and by taking shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna, by taking shelter of Krishna's name. So I was just going to read that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he said, "We are not the doers of good or bad deeds, no, nor are we scholars or illiterate, carrying the shoes of Hari's pure devotees as our duty. We are initiates into the mantra, Kirtaniya Sada Hari." So we're not just do-gooders in this world. He said it is infinitely more benevolent to rescue even one jiva from the fortress of Maya than to build millions of free hospitals. It's incomprehensible. How is that equal? Because you can build millions of free hospitals, but still all of those jivas will be bound in samsara, again and again experiencing the repetition of birth, disease, old age, and death, and suffering the threefold miseries. To rescue even one jiva from the fortress of Mahamaya is infinitely more benevolent. And only one who has that vision really can truly understand that. This is what the Guru Varga are speaking. It's not that we should not help those who are in need of help. This would be considered a complete lack of empathy. To the degree that we can help someone and to keep a what do you call it? A light footprint, to walk lightly on this earth, this is also Vaisnava. So this is the nature of Vaishnava, that they feel compassionate for every living entity, including a mosquito. You know, so it's so easy to kill a mosquito because they're causing some disturbance to us, or they could carry malaria or any other disease. But still, Vaishnava is always compassionate. I remember one time we were in Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. And it was just the beginning of Kartik month, and it was still very hot and humid. And a mosquito came, and it came to the head of our Gurudev. And very gently he went like this, very gently. He didn't do anything like that. But then he looked at his hand and he could see that there was blood on his hand, and he looked at us with so much compassion. And he said, "Don't do, don't do." So if for a mosquito he could have that kind of compassion, what to speak of any creature that is even more cognizant, who is more aware. So we should not be neglectful of that fact. I hope I didn't come across as that, but I think Sudevi, when she paraphrased Raghava Pandit Prabhu, she made this point very clearly. That shastrically there are different results for killing different kinds of creatures. So this is something we should understand. Now coming to a very simple thing. Why don't we take onions and garlics and carrots and other kinds of substances like red lentils and what are the other ones? White eggplant and sea creatures or anything from the sea. This is something quite interesting. In Garuda Purana, it is mentioned there that any of these substances, safed baigan means white eggplant, onions and garlic, anything from the sea, that includes seaweed or any creature from the sea, or red lentils, or gajar. Gajar means carrots. This is the word used in the Shastra. This is unofferable to the Lord and He won't accept it. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if something is not offered unto Him, and if it cannot be offered unto Him, because He won't accept it, then one is verily eating only sin. It means you cannot free yourself from the karma of that. Other things, patram pushpam palam toyam, if we offer to Krishna, then He can remove the sin from that. If we put meat in front of Him, not as humans, if we as humans put meat in front of Him, we cannot expect that He will remove the sin from that. But certain things which our Guru Varga have prescribed, what we have understood from Shastra, that Krishna will accept, if we put that in front of Him and offer it, then the karmic result can be removed from that. And He says that He will remove that from us, the karmic result. That is called aham tong sarva papebhyo moksha. He will free you from the result of these sinful actions if you surrender to Him. But if there's something that you know that He doesn't like or won't take, and you give it to Him anyway, then how can you do it with affection? That's the thing. Like for example, Sudevi. Sudevi is severely allergic to chili. She takes a little bit and she's in pain for days. Her gallbladder inflames. She's in a lot of difficulty. So we go to someone's house and they think, oh, it'll be better with chili, so let me give it. But we've already told them she can't take it. It's not good for her. So then they say, but it's only a little bit of chili, and she's already taken it. Can we consider this to be affectionate, or can we consider it to be selfish? It's selfish. It's not for her benefit. It's not for her happiness. It's for their ego. So what's the result? She suffers. She doesn't want to go back to their house. She feels offended. They feel offended that she's offended, and then the relationship is distanced. So it's actually aparad. It's against affection. Aparadha, against affection. So what does Krishna not like? Well, He won't like if you put a burger in front of Him, a Happy Meal. He would reject it flat out. We know that. But also, He won't take onions. He won't take garlic. He won't take red lentils. Lal masur. He will not take white eggplant. I don't know if you've seen it, but we see it here. And He won't take gajar, carrots. Some people say, well, the Indian carrots are more red than the orange carrots in the West. But there it just says gajar. They're all the same, it's just a different color. Just like humans, there's lots of different colors, but they're all humans. So, Shastra says that He will not accept it. This is just Shastra. So, there's a history behind it. But ultimately, it's because Krishna won't accept it. Basically, it's all genetically linked to the first cow ever killed. And Krishna, as we all know, loves cows. So now we're coming full round, full circle. Krishna is known as Gopal. He is the pal of the goats. He is the pal of the goats. Means He's the protector of the cows. He loves cows. Nanda Maharaj has how many cows? 900,000 cows. 9 lakhs.
There's a lot of questions.
Okay, and Vrishabhanu Maharaj has how many cows? 11 lakhs. That's 1,100,000 cows. And how about all of the other elderly gopas in Vrindavan?
You need to look down.
I'm
There's
going
a
to.
lot of questions about algae and spirulina and
Ooh.
sea salt.
sea salt. And Bhaktivedanta Prabhu wanted to ask something about what is pleasing to Krishna and making the best of a bad bargain.
Yes.
How, if you saw that, so. You
So I'll
open
mention
the
sea
topic.
salt.
You open the topic.
The question was that. Sea salt, interestingly enough, is considered generally to be not offerable, believe it or not. And on Ekadashi, we do not offer sea salt to Krishna. We offer only land salt. You know, this Himalayan pink salt, or any land salt. It's called Sendha Namak, or Ekadashi salt. In Vrindavan, everyone knows what Sendha Namak is. It's Ekadashi salt. It's considered a different kind of salt, a more pure form of salt. It's not from the ocean, because in the ocean, it's not really considered pure. There's artificially created salt, and then there's actually sea salt. Somehow it's considered somewhat contaminated for so many different reasons. Sea creatures. So, let me just look really quickly at the questions, and then I will get back to you.
You better know how to cook.
So no sea salt, I assume, Balabhadra, you already knew the answer to that. Seaweed, okay. So seaweed is part of sea life. Once upon a time, Srila Gurudev was in Hawaii with all of the devotees walking on the beach. And Lalit Mohan grabbed a bunch of seaweed. I believe he was draping it over himself. And Srila Gurudev said, put it down. And he said, but Gurudev, it's seaweed, it's good, you can eat it. And Gurudev said, you should put it down, it's the same, it's like fish. He said, but Gurudev, it's not fish, it's seaweed. And Gurudev said, it is fish. And this is kind of weird, because Prabhupada said the same thing about red lentils when they gave it to him. He said, it's meat, take it away. Lal Masur, red lentils, it is meat, take it away. Why? Because it is linked to the blood or the death of the first cow ever killed, genetically. So it's not offerable. So that brings us around circle into this point. So Gurudev said, put it down, it is fish, we won't touch that. Many devotees like to eat seaweed, but it's not considered offerable to Krishna. So that's something. Anyhow, the history of it is in the Shastra. There was a sage who was doing a yajna, and they used to do sacrifice. They would sacrifice an animal, chant mantras, and then bring that same animal back, but in a young form. And this is how they would test the power of their mantra. It so happened that that sage's wife was pregnant. She developed a taste for flesh. While he was chanting his mantras and praying, she took some of that flesh, she ate some of that flesh. Then she thought, oh my God, I'm going to get caught by my husband who's all-knowing. Sarvagya, let me hide what I've done. So she was running with that flesh to hide it. She buried some of that flesh and buried some of those bones. And as she was running, there were some more drops of blood falling. And then she threw the rest in the ocean. This was the time of creation. You know, Brahma, just by his thought, anything he would think would manifest and would produce life. So this was at the time of creation where everything had this kind of potency. And because her husband was a great, powerful sage, when he was chanting mantra, he infused that substance with life. So it had to have a result. Except it was not placed back with the cow, therefore the cow died. She took that substance and buried some of it. So from the bones grew onions and garlic and white eggplant. From the flesh that was buried grew gajar, carrots. From the drops of blood came up lal masur, the red lentils. And what was thrown in the ocean manifested as sea life. This is in the Shastra, in the Puranas. If we accept the Shastras and the Puranas, then we will understand this and we will accept that point. Some people will be like, oh my God, roll their eyes and say poppycock, but then you could roll your eyes about everything else that Shastra says as well. So in this case, this is history in Shastra. Our Gurudev would not take carrots. I know that Srila Prabhupada in the West, he would take them, but our Gurudev wouldn't take them. And those who are following in our Gurudev's line, then it would be difficult to offer something that your own Gurudev won't take. So this is something that is, you could say, an individual thing that people can discuss at another time. How do we reconcile these things? At the time when Srila Prabhupada first went to the West, there was not much to eat in terms of variety like there is now. So yes, I remember growing up with carrot halava, and I loved a big tall glass of carrot juice with apple and ginger mixed. But our Srila Gurudev would not take carrots because he could not offer them. So if Srila Prabhupada was willing to serve certain things, to bring people to bhakti,
Or make concessions.
it might be that some concessions were made. Srila Prabhupada explained that many concessions were made, and he told the devotees, if I were to tell you now, you would faint if I told you all the rules and regulations. He said gradually they can be introduced. Although I have not seen many gradually introduced since his time, but Prabhupada did mention that gradually they can be introduced as one is developing or progressing in bhakti. But if I were to tell you all the rules and regulations right now, you would faint.
There are places also though in Russia where they don't have much to eat, and carrots are one of the only things, like it's a staple of their
I
diet.
think it's like carrots, potatoes, cabbage, and peas.
And Srila Gurudev gave concession for that. Okay, then I'm giving you the concession to be able to take that thing. So
the law masur is not the same as urd dal, Raghava Pandit's writing. It's the red lentils, but the urd dal is also very high in protein. And somehow our Guru Varga have compared those things which are very, very high in protein to be like non-different from meat, which is quite interesting. They're both, oh gosh, I better start reading here. There's too many coming in. Spirulina is from lakes, for your information. There you go. Thank you for that. Chlorella, isn't that from
like an
trees?
algae. I thought it's in algae.
Balabhadra is giving all sorts of
Everybody go
tattva
to Balabhadra Prabhu for the sea life and the algae life.
Concessions are always made on non-essential topics, never on the essentials. So, because these questions were asked the other day, I thought I should address them. Unfortunately, while speaking about all these subjects, we can get bound in thinking about these subjects, and I don't really want to be meditating on carrots or onions and garlic at the end of my life. But there was one question that was asked to our Gurudev about carrots. I think it was
Trilokanath
Prabhu
in Canada.
So he kept asking this question, that question, this question, that question, and our Gurudev was trying to answer in so many different ways.
Finally he said, fine, you can take them, but
Yeah, our Gurudev said, you can take them if you want, but we will not take them. And then Trilokanath Prabhu said, but don't we have to offer through Guru and then also take the prasad of Guru? So if you won't take it, then how can we accept it? And Gurudev said, that's the question. That's the question. So for those who are endeavoring to follow their Gurudev and to be ekantik, one-pointed, and to develop Guru Nishtha, then we should try to follow the concepts of our Gurudev. Now mind you, we have many different devotees who have many different gurus who are participating in this class. So what precepts your Gurudev has set, then you follow. But if your Gurudev has said that there will be more rules in the future and that you should accept them, and if you also accept Shiksha Guru, this is an important thing. Shiksha Guru is the continuation from your Diksha Guru. Think of it like this. You have gone to first grade. Now you're going to go to second grade. It's a continuation. And in the future, maybe third grade and fourth grade, until we become professors. So as we are learning deeper and deeper truths, deeper conceptions. We will be eliminating things that we used to be attached to and accepting other things which are more favorable for bhakti. This is natural. Progress means selection and elimination, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj says, and there is no end to progress. So what things I might feel are beneficial now may not be beneficial later. And I will have to accept a new set of understandings about what is beneficial. So So in a case where someone has accepted Shiksha Guru, it is an offense, according to Shastra, to see that there's a difference between Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. If Shiksha Guru is giving further prescriptions, it's medicine, right? Our prescription for our spiritual benefit. Then if we are to reject that and say, well, I'm just going to go back to the prescription that I got a long time ago, then how can we be healed? So, for the further progression, this is necessary to progress in bhakti. If I have truly accepted my Shiksha Guru as Shiksha Guru, and then I see that there is actually a difference between my Shiksha Guru and my Diksha Guru, and it's not about changing a tattva, it's about a progression. If you see that tattvas, essential, foundational truths are being changed, and essential, basic, foundational principles are being changed, and they are not in line with Shastra, then that's one thing. But if it is in line with Shastra, it can be confirmed through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, then we should understand that Krishna has heard my prayer and again manifested in a different form, same wine, new bottle, to continue my education. And then this will actually be the proper following of one's Gurudev. This will be within the flow of Guru Nishtha. If I were to subsequently reject and say, well, I like this, so I'm not going to accept you and your prescription, then we will actually be guilty of Gurur Avagya, means disregarding or disobeying the order of the spiritual master, in which case we will not be able to receive the proper benefit of Harinam Prabhu, because it will be considered Nam Aparad. Hence, we will find that instead of bhakti growing in our heart, what will come as a result? Desire for material wealth, desire for sense gratification, and desire for name, fame, and everything else. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he explains that we must be under guidance of sadhu at every moment. Otherwise, even the jewels that we have already received in our hand can very easily be lost. And we can check ourselves. Have I felt so enthusiastic in bhakti at some certain point? And now where am I in terms of my bhakti? Am I really aspiring for Krishna, for service of Krishna? Am I developing more taste in Harinam? Am I developing more eagerness for hearing Harikatha? Or am I becoming more bound in worldly considerations? Then we can know whether what we are doing is actually favorable for bhakti or not favorable for bhakti. One can be binding in samsara, although it might be more sattvic. But this is what we have been doing since time immemorial. Sometimes going up, even to the point of being a demigod, and then again coming back down. Aruhya krichena param padam padam. Again, up and down in this cycle. Going up, sattvagun, then back to rajagun, tamagun, then rajagun, sattvagun. Like this, cycling forever and ever and ever. I have to end on a sweet note. All is well that ends sweetly.
I can tell you about my food while I'm in the butter.
So, with that being said, if we really want to make progress in spiritual life, what is our hope? To cry to Krishna for mercy. Cry. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasada. By the mercy of Krishna, we will receive Krishna's mercy form in our life. His mercy will condense and stand in front of us in the form of Sadhu Guru. And by taking shelter of that aspect of Krishna, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, by his mercy, Prasade Pai means by his mercy, Bhakti Lata Bij means the tendency or the nature of service to Krishna will awaken within our hearts. And by that, all ignorance, all anarthas, all aparads, all samsara, all problems, everything of the entire material world, all of our bhavasagar, everything will be completely eliminated forever. And we will also be able to help other jivas to eliminate their samsara forever. Jive doya Krishna nam. Seeing the suffering conditions of all jivas. It's impossible to please everyone, Gurudev said. You will fail guaranteed. But what can we do? We can do the loud kirtan of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These topics are very deep, they're very involved, and they can continue for lifetimes. But ultimately, we should try to come to remembering and hearing, as our Gurudev would say, always chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. Tannama, Rupa, Charita, Adi. Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes. And automatically, all of these other things will be removed. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite. As Prema Bhakti is manifesting in our heart, then all avidya will be removed. And just by the presence of a pure devotee, all jivas will benefit. Much more than if we're just benefiting one or two. By taking shelter of Krishna in every direction, beaming from you, everyone will be liberated. So what is the most powerful form of liberation? We can think, my helping one or two or three, or Sri Guru, when he's present, just glancing and by his own chanting, how many millions of jivas are being delivered from this world. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, and Srila Govinda Maharaj paraphrased it so beautifully. There is no concept greater than that of my Gurudev. I have strong faith that by one particle of dust from his lotus feet, millions of jivas of this world can be liberated. So if we can become really Krishna bhaktas, completely surrendered to Krishna under the guidance of any pure devotee, just imagine the benefit that the world can attain. Prahlad Maharaj also had this mood to benefit the entire world. So what does Mahaprabhu say is the greatest welfare work for the entire universe? Para upakar? Give the name of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So I just wanted to say some of the topics of discussion today, they can be enlightening and also a little bit disturbing. So please don't take it personally. It can be intense. We have repeated the words of our Guru Varga, and there's so many different aspects of what they have said. So more and more and more can be added to this discussion. But please, if I have said anything that has pinched anyone's heart,
me too.
Please bless me so that I won't do that in the future to you or anyone else. And this is not my intention. I was quoting Guru Sadhu and Shastra, and because of my conditioned nature, it may be that I make any mistake in my endeavor. I'm like a baby to my Gurudev, and so, yes, sometimes we might make a mistake in our endeavor to represent, and in our Gugu Gaga, we can make a mistake. It is possible. So if you have been pinched by anything we say, please forgive us. And if you found anything that we've said to be beneficial, you should know that that is by the mercy of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to remember and speak about these conceptions. And more can be discussed later. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
So, great darshan will be very soon. For being with us today, for engaging us in our Guru Seva, and for giving us the opportunity to remember all of these beautiful and maybe even controversial teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us.
Pranam, Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe.